Always like to start with the good stuff. We'll go drag strip mode on, traction control off, brake boost, and go. And we're gone. In fact, if you were into Saturday morning cartoons as much as I was, you'd probably say, oh boy, that Mustang's pretty fast. And you'd follow that up with, that thing's probably got a 5-liter, right? Nope, you would be wrong. It actually only has a 2.3 4-cylinder turbo. And there's a lot of room for a whole lot more motor in there. Although I will admit I hate driving in the morning because it makes this feel like work, even though I'm on the way home from work. Gotta admit, pretty nice view. Now this car might only be a 4-cylinder, but it is pretty well loaded. Convertible roof, leather, you name it, it is all there. In question is a beautiful 2024 Mustang. Convertible, of course, because why not? I feel like I definitely want to get some kind of a measuring device on it, but a lot of the car rags are all saying 4.5, 4.7 seconds, 0 to 60. Very, very impressive numbers out of this car. That, mind you, still weighs 3,800 pounds. It's an absolute tank, even with the small 4-cylinder. And yes, I know, it's just a small 4-cylinder car. But before you go bashing it, realize that this thing apparently is good for a low 13-second quarter-mile run. So if you're one of those guys that pulls up with a first-gen LS1 Camaro and you think you're gonna beat this Mustang, you're probably gonna lose. And it's gonna be really embarrassing because it's a 4-banger turbo in a Mustang convertible. The armrest on the door is in a nice spot, very comfortable if you're a one-handed steering wheel dude like myself. That is the way I normally do it, and it's very comfortable for me. I've also been knocking down crazy gas mileage. So 32 miles to the gallon, or roughly 7 liters per 100K. Very good. It is on the highway, but doesn't matter. I'm going 75 miles an hour, and that is very good gas mileage as far as I'm concerned. I find the seats are comfortable and have just the right amount of hug, for lack of a better term. Just holds me nice and tight, you know, just the way I think it should. It really doesn't get old mashing the gas at any speed. We're doing about 50 miles an hour right now. And it is up to speed. Pretty quick. So this is always the part where everyone's like, here's a million things I hate about this brand new car. Well, let me tell you something, that is not happening today. Because I actually only have one thing that I don't really like about this car. And that is that the tailpipe sticks out way too far for my liking. And let's get real, like, are we not tired of every single review video just being like, oh, well, this car's brand new and blah, blah, but you know what? It's actually a piece of crap and you should probably just burn it. Like, it's a brand new car. We are not reviewing stuff from the 80s like a Death Machine Pinto, where if someone rear ends you, you literally blow up and burst into flames. That actually happened. Like, we don't have those issues anymore. Like, this is good stuff nowadays, you guys. And you know, it's not like I'm your boss. You're not coming in for a job interview or for your, you know, your yearly performance review to find out if you're going to get your $1 an hour raise or not. Like, where it's like, well, you know what? You actually did really good, but we found a couple reasons that we shouldn't give you a passing grade, and we're gonna have to hold you back. Sorry. Maybe better luck next year. And just in case you try to come at me and say, oh, you barely drove it. I just drove this thing 800 miles overnight because I got screwed on my plane ride. So, yeah, I got some seat time in this car. I'm actually completely familiar with it. It's practically part of the family now, actually. However, I will be the first to say that, you know, if I ever got a good deal on a car like this, I'd buy it. But out of spite, I literally cannot buy a Mustang, Camaro, Challenger, Charger, doesn't matter, unless it has a V8. It is just not in me to do that. But setting that aside, this car is absolutely impressive in every aspect. It's like almost zero body roll. It doesn't have a track pack. It doesn't have all kinds of fancy options. It's a 4-cylinder turbo Mustang convertible, and it's a great car. I forgot it has a convertible top. You literally pull this down, twist it, that's up now, and hit the button. And boom, we have light. And wow, that is probably a record. That went down extremely quick. And let's just take a split second and process that. It is absolutely wild that a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder turbo in a 4,000 pound almost Mustang convertible does 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. Now it might seem like a little while ago, but 25 years ago when the C5 Corvette came out, that car did, give or take, 4.5 seconds, 0 to 60. And it felt like next world kind of stuff with the LS1. That same car also ran a low 13-second quarter mile. And the Z06 that came out a handful of years later had 400 horsepower, well, 405. And that car did a high 12-second quarter mile and a slightly better 0 to 60 time. Now, could you imagine lining those two cars up back then? You just bought your brand new Corvette and you see this convertible Mustang pull up beside it and almost beat you. If you told me 25 years ago that I would see that day, I'd call you a liar.
And now when the Mustang celebrates its 70th anniversary, it's almost hard to think that this thing's 70 years old, but it sure needs some work.
Yes, this might be a project car, but in all those years, the Mustang's come pretty far if you'd ask me.
Like I said before, I never would have pegged a day when you'd be getting a 310 horsepower 4-banger turbo in a Mustang that you could drive, get 30 miles to the gallon with, and essentially it's a fast car.
But just look at how far the Mustang has come in all these years from a very basic everything. I mean, this was kind of, most would argue that the best years of cars, and I'm almost on that train. I mean, it certainly gave birth to some of the best powertrains. Even this engine here, the little 289, the Ford Windsor engine, managed to make its way into Ford F-150s until 1997 even. So this had a very long run and just an absolutely amazing piece of machinery. Deadly reliable, cheap to fix, easy to work on, you name it. And if there's one thing I have to say, it's that unfortunately they don't make them like they used to.